Well, it's official. Windows 10 security support for most users ended on October 14th, 2025. Remember when they promised Windows was the last version? Now Microsoft wants you to pay for an upgrade because the free Windows 11 offer is gone. And on top of that, your average aging computer likely doesn't even satisfy the strict hardware requirements for Windows 11. It's a dead end. So what can you do? You can install an entirely new operating system called Zorin OS. Zorin OS 18 has arrived. A huge leap forward packed with improvements to make your computer more powerful, easy, and enjoyable to use. And as you can see, does look very much like Windows. They've really gone to lengths to make that migration as easy as possible. I mean, you honestly would be forgiven for thinking on a quick glance that might be a Windows Start menu. So we get these options: try or install OS. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do try or install Zorin OS. So this is the equivalent of you putting this USB stick that I'm going to teach you how to put together now onto your device, into your laptop, into your computer. So we're going to do try Zorin OS because that lets us play with the operating system before we install it, so we can get a feel for it. And this is what I recommend you do, because by doing this, you're not making any changes to your base operating system or files, and it's a very safe environment. Okay, so this is Zorin OS 18. We have our start menu at the bottom. We click on here. There's our start menu. Clocks, files. So is this like yeah, so this is like a Windows Explorer. It's music, pictures, videos, trash. Trash is like recycled bin then. This is not too far off how Ubuntu kind of works, but it's definitely geared towards you Windows users. So it has an image viewer. It's got LibreOffice Draw installed. So it's got the Office suite installed. Here we go. So if I open LibreOffice, right? Yeah. So we have this is kind of your alternative to Microsoft Office. And the great thing is that's installed by default. So you can do obviously like kind of like your alternatives to Word, PowerPoint, Excel. It's literally got all that pre-installed for you. This is perfect for your kids maybe doing schoolwork or university work. Zorin OS 18, and it's a free operating system. Remember, we haven't actually put any serial numbers into this yet. What I love about this is that it's got the Brave web browser installed by default, and I use Brave myself. And Brave is kind of like built on the same type of code that Chrome is, also known as Chromium underneath. So if we open the Brave web browser, the cool thing about Brave is that it's purely focused on your privacy from the outset. And then if we go to like google.com, brilliant. Brave shields are blocking one tracker already on Google. So yeah, really good privacy focused web browser. Camera, so we've got for our webcam, Rhythmbox, which is the local media player on here, by the way. So if you've got your music collection, that's good to go on there as well. Parental controls, that's really good because that's going to be great. So currently there are no standard user accounts, but you can obviously create one in the user settings, which conveniently, if you click that button, it'll take you to an area that you can actually add users, add your kids, add your family members in here. Okay, so there's a software suite, a software package. Again, I've never used Zorin OS. It's very close to Ubuntu in terms of what I'm used to with Linux. I normally use Ubuntu server, but that's for a different video. Portal for Teams, the unofficial Microsoft Teams client for Linux. Sounds exactly what we're after. Yeah, that looks like Teams to me. So if you use that for work or just your personal life, because obviously it's slowly replacing Skype, you would just install Teams. What else have we got in here? We've got backups. Create your first backup. What folders you want to back up? This is wonderful. This is document viewers, passwords and keys. Oh, nice. So there is a built-in password manager on here as well. Nice. And there are games available. Oh, look at that. The actual official Steam launcher is available on here as well. And there are a host of games that you can download for Steam. So, you can game on this thing. What about settings? Let's have a little look at the settings options in here. See if we can... Yes. And I love that you can resize the windows here as well. So starting from the top, then we've got network. It's connected via our 10 gigabit NIC that I have installed in here, the network interface card. We can easily set up VPNs if you have VPNs and profiles like that, which is cool. I wonder if there's a Node application in here because I use Node too. Oh, look at that. Node VPN is on here as well. Absolutely amazing. And then we've got the appearance there with Zorin appearance. So if you're coming from Windows, the default appearance is going to be very helpful for you. This is how it looks. Okay. And that's just, okay. So we have Windows snapping. I like that. Let's say on home. Yes. Trash. Yes. Mounted volumes and network servers. Yeah. We'll have all that. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is actually download and install Zorin OS. So we're going to get the ISO first, which is basically the file that we need to place on our USB stick with some other software to install this onto our system. So all you've got to do is follow the links in the description below to download, and that's what we're going to do now. We can also download or look at the Pro version a little later on, rather, and we'll get into that shortly. For now, just scroll to the bottom of the page and click download on Zorin OS 18 Core. And then you don't have to enter your email. You can just literally click skip to download and then choose a location like your downloads folder or something so that we can download that file. And that might take a little while as it is a couple of gigs large. And then according to Zorin OS's own website, they recommend downloading BalenaEtcher, which is a program that will move the Zorin OS ISO file we just downloaded onto the USB stick so that you can plug this into your laptop or your computer to install them. Now, all links will be in the description below, so don't panic. It's a very simple process. Once we've clicked on download BalenaEtcher, you'll come to their website here. We're going to download, and you'll say, oh, which one's mine? Well, it depends on the operating system you're currently running on. If you're running on a Windows computer, you're going to download the Windows version. If you're running on Mac, you're going to download the Mac version unless your processor is ARM64, which you can find out in the settings of your Mac system. But I'm running Windows, so we're going to be downloading the Windows installer, which will open up on the Windows system. So now we just select the option, Flash from File. We're going to go to our Downloads, and we'll find the Zorin OS 18 Core 64-bit ISO file that we downloaded earlier. Select Target. It's found the 16 gigabyte, or although it's showing as 15.5 on F drive. So we're going to hit the little checkbox on the side. The three hidden options are our hard drives on the system, and they're hidden for good reason because we wouldn't want to use any of these because that could literally just corrupt our operating system or overwrite any important files. So we're just selecting the coaxial USB device. Yours may be called something different, but we're looking for that USB stick. So if you've put a 4 gigabyte one in, look for something close to 4 gigabyte, not 4 terabyte. And then just select. And then it's as simple as clicking Flash, and it will transfer the Zorin operating system over to our USB drive. It might look stuck or not doing much, but trust me, it is in the background. So just leave it until it's completed. Depending on the type of USB stick you're using and the port that you've plugged it into, it could take between a few seconds to a few minutes to complete. It will give you an overview progress bar. And that's it. We've now flashed or installed or moved, however you want to call it, Zorin OS 18 onto the USB drive that we just had. So let's go and plug this into our system and install it for real. Now, before we do that, we need to also think of one more important thing. Are you just playing around with this today, or are you going to be actually installing this on the computer that your Windows machine is currently running on, or your Mac, or whatever you have? Because if that's the case, then you're going to also want to back up all your important files. And the other thing to remember is not all games that you have installed on your Windows computer may natively work on Zorin OS. Same as video editing software, for example, that I'm using, Wondershare, wouldn't natively run on Linux and may require a lot more configuration. So you need to kind of understand and break down exactly what you're about to do. If you're happy with that information, and I will show you how to install a lot of the similar programs, we can either back up to another hard drive on your system the most important files. The most important files are likely to be in your downloads, documents, pictures, music, and videos folders. When you're happy you've backed up all your personal files, you can then proceed. Or if you're just simply testing the waters and only trying out Zorin OS and you don't intend to install it, you can also continue along. So you're going to restart your computer and you're going to plug in the USB stick that we just created. And then you're going to repeatedly hit the delete key on your keyboard until you come into your system's BIOS, which stands for Basic Input Output System. And they're all going to look different. Yours is most likely not going to look like mine because this is how an ASUS BIOS looks, a latest edition of those BIOS. It might be a lot more basic than this, and you might not even have mouse support like I do in here. But mostly, they have the same options. They usually come with an advanced mode, which on the bottom here you'll see, and you'll normally be able to use your keyboard to kind of click across to the relevant different things. What we're looking for is the boot menu option, which you should find somewhere in your BIOS. And then it gives you an option of different things. Now, for Windows computers, boot option number 1 will probably be the Windows Boot Manager, which essentially is saying this is the drive where Windows is installed. And then option 2 will have whatever other drives you've got. Secure boot. I'm going to go into secure boots. And, oh, funny enough, I've already got it set to other OS. Oh, I have had Linux installed on here in the past. That's why. So yeah, we're not installing Windows, we're installing Linux. So if there's no Linux option, just click other OS and that's fine. At which point you can do save changes and reset. And again, hit that delete key. Okay, there you go. It's found the UEFI coaxia, or however you pronounce that. It's now there. So now if we go to the advanced section again, or you go across on your keyboard, and then we go to boot, you'll see that the second boot option is showing there's UEFI coaxia. If you don't have a boot menu that you can launch straight from, so if I go back to main or easy mode, if you don't have the boot menu where you can select that coaxia partition 2 or coaxia, then just change the boot order of your system, which is back in advanced mode, and literally select the coaxia partition 2. And when we're finished with this, you'll have to come back in here later and change it back to the hard drive that you were on. So I would personally recommend, if possible, you use the boot menu, which according to this is F8. So if we restart the computer here, and instead of pressing delete, we just keep hitting F8 on the keyboard, just hitting F8, you'll see that we get to select a boot device. So I'm going to try partition 2. There we go. So now we can start trying or installing Zorin OS on our physical machine. And bearing in mind, in this simulation, we've already backed up all our important files that we want to take over with us. So we're going to try our install, and it's running a little check on all the files on that USB drive. And you could do Control-C to cancel check, but we're not going to let that happen. We're going to let it continue to make sure that all the files are present, so we have a flawless installation. So we're gonna, this time we've tried Zorin OS on our main computer anyway, as you would have earlier on, and as you saw. So we're just gonna go ahead and install. So we're gonna make sure English is selected and then install Zorin OS, the button we're gonna go with from here. We're English UK, English UK. Now, yeah, we'll download updates while installing. I recommend installing the third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware because it just makes it easier for you. And personally, I don't want to participate in the census, which sends non-personal information allegedly to Zorin. That's nothing against Zorin OS. That is something that I do on all my bits and bobs of software and hardware that I employ, hence why I use custom DNS. And I'm figuring that a lot of people watching this may also want to keep that privacy, keep that updates. Something that you don't get to choose all the time on Windows because it just has so many different ways of obtaining that information. So Again, your choice. If you don't mind helping them out and helping the developers out and send some information back, go for it. It's anonymous according to them, and there is a button to learn more there if you want to. But I don't. Now, bearing in mind, I actually have an AMD GPU installed on this. Now, this is where you get to pick how you want to install. Do you want to install this alongside your current Windows operating system? Now, that might be a good option if you don't have an ability to back up all your files and then put them onto this system. So if you're in that club, then maybe you do. However, obviously, that's going to take up quite a lot of your hard drive space for Windows and Zorin OS. So the other option is to erase the disk and install Zorin OS. Now, it comes the warning, it will delete all the programs, documents, photos, music, and any other files at all on your Windows operating system. Windows will no longer exist if you choose this option and move forward. Now, that means if you haven't yet backed up all of your important files, do so before you attempt this, because you will not get another chance later. That is also the option that we are going to be picking here. Then we have the option of advanced features, and it says use a logical volume manager with a new Zorin OS installation. You might think, Keith, what is that? Well, I don't really want to bog the video down with lots of information that a lot of people probably won't understand, especially if you're newbies coming across to Linux. But essentially, we do want to use that, and we also want to select the option to encrypt the new Zorin OS as well. And the reason we're selecting these advanced features is this. Even on Windows 11 today, when you install it, it's going to install with all these additional security features, and even the Pro version gives you the option to have BitLocker to encrypt your system with. Mac OS, things like that, they all have, all the latest operating systems allow you to do that, and I would really recommend that you do what I've done here, because this is going to up your privacy from physical interaction with your system. So if your PC or your laptop gets stolen, or someone tries turning it on and using the information without your permission, it's encrypted. No one can access the information without your credentials. And that's almost as good as two-factor authentication in the physical realm around your physical computer or laptop. So if you want to encrypt all the data on your new Zorin OS operating system, I would follow me. We're doing advanced features, use LVM, and encrypt the new Zorin OS. Okay, the other option I'm going to have here is overwrite empty disk space. Now, the cool thing about this is not only will it encrypt all the new data, but it will encrypt all the empty space on the drive as well. It does take much longer, but it is a lot more secure. And then we're going to just click install now. It's going to ask us what drive do we want to install to. On this system, I have two drives. I've got a 120GB SSD and a 1TB hard drive. I'm going to install naturally to the SSD where my Windows installation was, and use the faster drive because an SSD is a lot faster than a hard drive, so Zorin will feel even more snappier. And then we're going to go with install now. Of course, don't forget to make sure you select continue, the new logical system, volume system that we created. Where are we? London. So it sets the right time. This is where we can now create our credentials for login. It creates a random computer name. Personally, I'm just going to put in here test system, but you can choose any name you want. The username I'm going to put down as Keith, and then a password, because that's the point of making this secure. Installation is complete, and you need to restart the computer in order to use the new installation. Now, that's all great. Now, depending on how you got this installed, i.e. in the BIOS, did you just select the USB drive from its boot menu, or did you change the boot order? If you did change the boot order, we now need to put that back so that it launches from the hard drive. To do that, we're just going to click restart now. And then when the screen goes black and turns off, we're going to hit that delete key repeatedly. So yes, so it says remove the installation medium. We're going to press enter. So you can remove that USB stick, by the way, and then press enter. Then when it restarts, we're going to hit that delete key repeatedly. Here we go. To hit that delete key repeatedly, you only need to do this if you change the boot order of the hard drives. We're going to go back to advanced, so you're going to go across the screen with your keyboard, depending on how old the BIOS is. go back to boot, and just make sure that boot option number 1 is your Zorin OS, or the name of the SSD, which in my case is the Kingston. As long as that's in number 1, you're good to go. If it is, just set it that way, go to exit, do save changes, and reset. And then don't press anything. Let it boot into your new Zorin operating system. And then we'll be running Zorin OS 18. As we mentioned earlier on, this is where you would now put that encryption key that we created. And this is good for you to know at this point, because you might think, Keith, I don't want to keep putting in that code in every time I start my computer, in which case you wouldn't be encrypting that computer while during the installation. You wouldn't be selecting that. Hence why it was important during the setup to make sure we had the English UK keyboard. And here we are. This is the Zorin OS login screen, specifically Zorin OS 18. So we're going to click Keith. And if you know your password off by heart, you're going to go in there and just be fine. I don't. So I'm going to paste my password in, click enter. And this is the new Zorin OS install. Welcome to Zorin OS 18. And then it's offering us a nice tour of the system. So let's start that tour. So it says, open the menu to launch apps. You can search for apps and find shortcuts to common locations in the menu. That would be down here. That would be what I would take and resemble as our Windows Start menu. Next, choose your desktop look with Zorin Appearance. So we can launch Zorin Appearance, and then we can choose how we want it to appear at the bottom. Now, if you're a Windows user, you'll probably want to keep this as is. And of course, we can upgrade to Zorin OS Pro if we want more desktop layouts, because they have one that even looks even more like Windows 11, and they also have one that looks exactly like Mac OS as well. One of the things that I think are most important when I update or install a brand new operating system is putting on dark mode. Oh, that is so much better on the eyes. It's not white and bright and taking over everything. And then we've got effects, jelly modes. So right now, if we move this around, it doesn't do anything. If we turn on jelly mode and then bring it around, it's got a bit of a shake. Not important, but I think it looks great. And then you've got other things that you can do in here. Now, for example, your desktop is quite empty right now. So under desktop, we can also add things in like home, rubbish, mounted volumes, which just mean hard drives, USB sticks, things like that you plug in. They'll just appear on your desktop. And network servers, just in case you have any network drives you want to add. That's great. So yeah, so again, tons and tons of ways of making that look great, including the interface text and its size. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I wear glasses and I like things a little bit bigger. That's nicer. There you go. So everything on the screen here is a lot bigger now for me, which is better for my personal circumstances. So next, connect to your online accounts, synchronize your accounts, easily access your online calendar, documents, photos, and more by connecting things like Google, Microsoft, Nextcloud, Microsoft Exchange, your emails, anything and everything that you want to do, you can do straight through there, including a multitude of other settings, display settings, system resolution, Bluetooth. No, there's no Bluetooth module in that computer, mind. It's found the 1 gigabit NIC in there, the network interface card, so that's great. So we're online. Sound, yeah, it's got sound. Search, great for privacy control. Maybe you don't want it looking through contacts when you're searching for files. Yeah, that's great. Printers that you might have in your network, you can now add in here. So there's that too. Linking your phone and computer with Zorin. So integrate devices, synchronize notifications, reply to messages on the desktop, share files, use your phone as a remote control for your computer and more. That sounds awesome. That's kind of like Windows Phone Link. So if you normally connect your phone to your Windows computer, you can now do the same thing with Zorin Connect. That is so awesome. So it searches for devices on your network. You just need to download it on your Play Store. Zorin Connect. So that's what you would download on your phone. That is so handy. Which is another great tool that we're bringing across from Windows. It's an alternative and it's free and it's just easy and simple to get to grips with. And that was the Brave web browsers we had earlier. Of course, you can also install any other software that you want on here as well. But going through the tour, yep, so there you go. I just prematurely launched that software library. And then we hope that you enjoy Zorin OS. Thank you very much. So again, some of the things I want to install off the bat are going to be VLC Media Player. Simple as that. Look at that. You didn't have to go to any website. You didn't have to manually download it. Just like the Windows Store on Windows itself, we've got a software suite on the system as well. But difference is, you don't need to log into it like Windows forces you do to use it. So what else have we got on here? We've got VLC. What about Spotify? In case you I personally use Google Music, but there are people out there that use Spotify as well. And then you've got the official Spotify app on here as well. Now, of course, off the bat, you do have an entire Office suite on here completely free of charge. We've got LibreOffice. We've got LibreOffice Impress, which is like PowerPoint. And we've also got LibreOffice Calculate, which is basically like Excel spreadsheets. So this is where we can literally create all our PowerPoint presentations, our spreadsheets. And the cool thing is there is no subscription for this. This is unlimited free use just simply because you have Zorin OS 18. So this is perfect to install on your kids' laptops or kids' computers, especially for schoolwork or going off to university. Why pay for those things when you don't have to? You could just literally get them to install Zorin OS or do it for them. Now you have the power and knowledge, and share that information with them and empower them to go forwards, knowing that it's going to be secure and private. Teams. So if you use Teams quite a lot, maybe for work or personal use, you've got Portal for Teams, which is basically just an alternative experience, an alternative app. So there you go. That's what Zorin OS is. It's to give you the option of using a different operating system that gets regular system updates without having to constantly pay for the privilege. Now, on top of all this, you can, like I say, buy Zorin OS Pro. And I am going to show you a little bit about that now because they were very helpful enough to provide me that. So if we do upgrade to Zorin OS, and this is what I'm saying, you could purchase it through here. So install software updates continue as an update to the Zorin OS upgrade is available. Yeah, so we'll do that. And we'll install the latest updates. Install now. Okay, so the software in this computer is now up to date. If we do Zorin, upgrade to Zorin OS, and then we're going to upgrade to Pro. And then it's going to say normal installation or minimal installation. And the reason why it's asking you this is simple because the normal installation of the Pro edition, which I highly suggest you use if you're going to be purchasing it, is that it installs the creative suite of apps, advanced productivity software utilities, and premium desktop layouts. For example, and we go to downloads Zorin OS, and then here's the Pro. If we discover Pro, these are the things that the Pro is going to do for us, right? It's going to bring together the best apps, most advanced features. All right, so we've got video editors, image editors, music editors, more desktops. Like I said earlier on, we've got Mac OS like Windows Classic like Chrome OS like Linux, Elementary OS, Ubuntu, and the compact panel as well. So it's got standard desktop layouts. It comes with this professional grade of creative suite so that you can have all of the same pro applications that you would normally use on Windows or Mac, but bring them as their alternatives onto Zorin OS. So it says it's got an advanced video editor, Photoshop compatible image editor, illustration software, audio workstation, animation software, 3D graphic and effect software used by Hollywood studios, to name a few. So these are the more productivity tools that you can get, the advanced. So you've got Planify. So Planify is obviously a planner type system that gives you access to create plans for your future, productivity enhancements, write, sketch, and scribble. So it's got like a notes taking app, which means you can annotate images, PDF documents effortlessly with the Exernal. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like a play on journal. So the Exernal plus app. Now that's really cool because a lot of places that you would have productivity software like that wouldn't be bundled with an operating system. So simply by the fact that we're upgrading to a Pro license gets you these additional things. Connects your desktop to the big screen. The network display app allows you to share your desktop with other displays seamlessly and wirelessly, with TVs and things like that. And then it comes with a host of other different productivity apps that are going to be bundled in your ebook readers, accounting software, task time trackers, screen recorders, 3D, CAD, which you normally would have to pay a mega fee for. And a lot of these things would normally come with subscriptions, but it's just including them. So it's saying that they're bundled with alternatives with over $5,000 of professional software. So we're upgrading for the price of $47.99, despite just being honest and transparent. I got mine for free just because I did this video for them. But it would cost you $47.99. Windows 11 Pro store. How much would that cost us? £219 right now. I mean, there are cheaper keys out there. You can go on a lot of different websites and find a lot of keys, but a lot of people prefer to go directly to the source. So Windows 11 Pro is going to set you back £219, Zorin OS $47.99, plus you're getting $5,000 worth of software. Office Suite. Office alone would cost you $250. You're getting all the LibreOffice stuff for free. Image editors, Affinity Photo, illustration software, audio editors, video editors, digital painting apps, desktop publishers, photography workflow, finance and accounting with GenBooks, personal task manager, mind mapping, computer-aided design, CAD, which would be over $1,000 on its own, almost two, 3D graphics, DJ software, Tractor Pro, digital audio workspace, and focus writing apps, and tons more. And again, you're getting that for that sweet $47.99. So it looks like this is literally the ultimate. I mean, it gives you obviously a comparison between the core version, which you can still install all the apps you want on, plus the pro version and what it gives you additional. And again, contributes to the development of Zorin OS. I'm going to go back over to the operating system. We're going to do normal installation, continue, and then it's going to say, what's your email address? So that's going to be, that's the email address that you've purchased the code with. And then we're going to put our support code in here. Going to check the upgrade requirements, probably against the system. And yeah, it's accepted everything. And it says, do you want to start? It's recommended that you back up your data and files. Now, if you'd already been running Zorin OS for quite a while and are now wanting to back that up, then yeah, I'd say open backups and do that. I mean, if we click open backups here, this gives you the option of literally creating your backups of your system. Go ahead if you've been using it for a while. If not, I would just go ahead with the upgrade. It says, keep your computer plugged into power. Going to be connected to the internet and will use about 8 gigs download. Installing the upgrade may take a long time, requires restarting the computer. That's absolutely fine. Just bearing in mind, while we're upgrading this, and if it does restart the system, you will need to enter in your security key, obviously, to decrypt the hard drive. And then we're going to restart the system before continuing with the upgrade. Operating system is Zorin OS 18 Pro. That's a solid overview of Zorin OS and how it could be your free alternative to Windows should you wish. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope I've given you a great overview of what you could be using if you wanted to no longer pay for Windows and you just wanted to look for other options. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.